Hi, thanks for coming back. Let's get back to the Lynnea Bylund interview, part two. Thank you.
We've both known each other for years, decades actually, and have both shared an appreciation for health and wellness. And so there's a beautiful book, and it's called The Green Gorilla, The Searchless Raw Diet. And the gorilla is an 800-pound animal. You come encounter with a gorilla and look the gorilla eye to eye. It's an animal that could do great harm to us. And what do these 800-pound animals eat? What are the primates who are closest to the human form? What are they doing? They're practicing a raw diet. They haven't a clue about how to build a fire or cook something. They move about so that they are constantly foraging in different places and taking food from different sources. The gorilla's diet is dominantly greens. Secondarily, the diet of the gorilla makes use of various kinds of fruits and seeds, but the raw its diet is something like the wild diet. And the problem today, there's a lot of problems relative to our health. Number one, the health industries. We're in it. The health system is built on treating disease instead of preventing it. Most of the disease and ill health felt in the body is felt due to inflammation. There's some kind of inflammation going on somewhere in the body. So we're feeding ourselves foods that inflame us, usually acidic, throwing the pH balance of the body off. The natural pH balance of the body should be 7.4. And the only food known to man that has the exact pH balance as the human body is the avocado, a wonderful piece of fruit, actually, to ingest. So this idea, this gorilla, I want to stay on point a little bit further about the gorilla. Because the gorilla, it finds a cabbage in the jungle. It sits down and munches on a cabbage. It's a completely benign, peaceful moment. There's nothing threatening. There's nothing dangerous about the gorilla. The gorilla's not eating anything killed. It has, that has an independent consciousness in the ordinary sense. It's just cabbages and vegetables. If another gorilla comes near, the eating gorilla still has some food and thus is connected to the food source that it's putting into its body. And the gorilla is not disturbed as long as the approaching creature that he or she is also eating. The gorilla is extremely peaceful. Therefore, the eating gorilla is the actual image of true human being, because the eating gorilla demonstrates this principle of true politics, of real human existence, wherein people are always presently connected to truth, to happiness. And real food source, wherein they are always presuming this connection, relationship, I love you. And that's really what food and diet are all about,
Staying on point, I was looking at the CDC 2009 report. It actually is very pitiful because it talks about cancer, it talks about disease and the relation to the fruit and vegetable. And in the finding, it's showing that less than 15% of Americans actually are using 2 or more servings of fruits and vegetable a day. And that could very well be the reason why we have such a huge medical industry. People are just not healthy.
The medical industry it's a machine, and it's all based on the treatment of ill health instead of the prevention of preventive well-being disciplines we should be living out every day. Okay, getting back to the green drink, because the green gorilla, the green drink, this whole green thing, it's all connected. When you're giving your body the right things, your body is going to be in a more loving disposition. And that's what true health is all about. It's about sustenance, and it's about love. And it's really about, it's not really about these conventional dietary matters. People eat for the wrong reasons. People are eating because to satisfy their own personal, it's for their own personal pleasures. They're not eating for real health. So when you're eating for your own pleasure and what tastes good, you're not necessarily thinking about what's optimally best for this machine I have here, which predominantly is raw food, greens, predominantly. And we're so used to eating all these tasty, good foods that make us sick.
Well, just on that note, in front of me is an article that was written November 10th, 2009 in Medscape by an MD, Desiree, and in there she's talking about diet rich in high-fat dairy products and fried, refined, and sugary foods increase the risk of developing depression. And those who are rich in fruits and vegetables are lower risk of developing depression. This is a new study. So I completely agree with you. We're bombarded, and I mean, if you're developing depression, and then if this doctor is only doing research on depression, I bet you if there was other research done on other diseases, you'll find a direct link between your food and the diseases that you're experiencing in your body.
That's why the gorilla is such an amazing example. It's an 800-pound animal, muscle, okay? And all it eats is vegetables, and it's got a peaceful condition. And my point is, in bringing this up, which is pointed out by my greatest teacher, is the fact that when you're giving your body the right foods, it changes the way that you think and you feel, and the chemical the brain chemistry and everything. And therefore, yes, you are more peaceful. Therefore, you're more loving, and less depression and dis-ease, and it's all interconnected. It becomes a discipline. We need to, we're all busy. I'm a busy professional, travel, and sometimes it's difficult. We hear that a lot. It's difficult to make the right food choices. But you get into a yoga. It's a yoga of right diet, an optimal minimal. What is optimum for me? And, and you're not always going to do everything perfect, always, all the time. It's not going to happen. It's not realistic. But as long as you're doing the right stuff, the majority of the time, your body's going to respond for you beautifully. I was just watching, Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. I see that you're a part of him, the Health News.
Yeah.
And he lives in Ecuador. And he lives in a very remote place in Ecuador where it's a village, and there's no medical. There's no modern stuff that we have here. And if you go onto YouTube and you search his city in Ecuador, I actually found an Indian that's lived there for 3 generations. And it was his grandfather that taught him about all of the plant substances that grow in the region. And he was explaining how this plant takes care of malaria. When we get sick, we know what plants to go find in nature and begin consuming to deal with what's, imbalanced in the body. And these are people who are living off the grid, but living completely off nature, like that green gorilla, and completely in harmony and in a perfect, radiant, healthy balance.
So,
very interesting.
Yeah, that's absolutely interesting, and it makes a lot of sense. But in reality, 90% of Americans, they just can't relate to that. And this is why we're here, because we're trying to educate, we're trying to give information, and we're trying to get people to begin to see the truth about food, health.